are about to unravel and hear the experiences of some eminent leaders of excellence. And it is my pleasure to invite on stage Ekta. Ekta, are you with us? Yes, welcoming Ekta. I'm having trouble with your last name, so you're going to come and help me with it. Aksheta Saxena. Welcoming Aksheta. Ladies and
Captain Shweta Singh. Tripati Sehgal Somani. R. Virmala. Rajita Kulkarni.
Ekta Buderlake.
Good, okay, good. You got it right.
Okay, so thank you very much for having me here. I was quite surprised when I received this invitation. Glad to be here. So my name is Ekta. Boudelik is my second name. It's French. I've been living in France for the last 20 years. And I've got 2 grown-up kids. I just shifted to India. We have an organic farm and I run an NGO to help farmers with seeds. Also working on environmental activism. And when I received this invitation at the first, I seriously considered not coming because, well, anyway, they're busy, they're not listening. I really thought that I'm not for women's equality at all because I feel women don't need to feel equal. It's the men that need to think about equality. And seriously, we've been so blessed as women to be kept out of this collective consumerism that we have not been made aware of a capitalist economy by the very fact that we've been excluded. And our capacity to bring, to give, and to just be has been so enormous, has been protected. Why in anybody's name would we like to be equal? You know, in the Indian Sanskriti, in the Indian culture, if you know the system, the idea of feminism precedes the masculine. All right? It is the Prakriti, it is the feminine principle which gives birth to the masculine principle. And that is evident in life anywhere in the world. So when we see how it has been reversed today and the situation where we are all called as women to talk about women's equality, I find it really nice. But at the same time, I call upon all of us to think that there is no such thing as equality. We are all human. And frankly, if we were not equal, I think there's nothing to prove. It is something that we are born with. And to an extent, our grandmothers, our mothers, we ourselves as women, as those who give life and who bring the principle of life back to earth, I don't even think that we need to discuss this. We know it in our hearts. The other thing that I work on and I have been doing for the last at least 30 years when I started with is training in meditation. So I belong to an organization called Heartfulness Institute and I train people in meditation around the world. Today I take care of the national university programs that happen in India. And after 20 years of living in France and now coming to live in India, meditation and the way we work with awareness tools, I see so many women coming forward and gaining what is something they do naturally and flawlessly. This inborn patience, this strength, any woman in the world, she doesn't have to be taught that. She doesn't have to be given that. It is born with her. And when you can reinforce it with meditation, when you can reinforce it with something that can connect you to your inner awareness, the kind of strength it builds, the kind of force it gives you. I think it's the first, foremost thing that can change the culture that we live in, the narrative that's been told to us, even the story that's been told to us that women are not equal, which I don't think exists. In our hearts, we know that even today, in any given society, women are far from being not equal. So at the end of the session, if we have a few minutes, I'd like to probably propose a short meditation experience, about 2-3 minutes if you're up for it. So if you like that, you could just stay behind and we can try that. Good. And I pass on to the next person who would come and talk. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for taking us on that journey of inspiring us and instilling in us the confidence that if you don't change nothing, nothing changes. So we have in us the ability to change the narrative, if we so please. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for sharing your diverse experiences. I invite Akshayeta Saxena. Akshayeta is the head of marketing at Economic Times and also the winner of Young Leaders 2017, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a privilege to be here speaking at the Women Economic Forum. I'd like to share with you a couple of moments which I define as life-defining. The first one is really when I was 7 years old, I used to roam around with this list of things that I really wanted to pick up. You know, the usual suspects at first, so singing, dancing, tennis, table tennis, and then it moved on to things that my parents weren't too pleased about because it was just adding a lot to their load. You know, golf, at one point I considered polo. So my mom had to ferry me around the city of Mumbai from one coaching class to the other until, you know, she decided this is not working. So I proposed that, you know, I should be put in a boarding school. So I was 7 and this was not the best of ideas that went well with my parents. But anyway, after weeks of relentless pursuit, they kind of ceded to it. So fast forward to the first day of me at this boarding school, my dad had this very somber expression, my mom, puffy eyes, runny nose, and you know, she was just about to break down any second. It was time for them to leave when my dad patted me on my shoulder and he said, Akshayata, are you sure you want to do this? So I looked at him and then I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, Dad, life mein kuch paane ke liye kuch khona padta hai. And with that, I kind of turned and I walked to my classroom. It's a story every guest who's entered my home has listened to. It's also the story my parents narrate to me every time I feel low or dejected, in my times of despondency when I have to come up with a plan B. Interestingly, it's also the story they tell me every time things have gone my way, in moments of my success. They keep saying, you know, you said it yourself when you were 8, good chapters or bad chapters. To kind of move forward, you need to let go of the past. You know, the comfort or the familiarity of things should not hold you back. Same way, the despondency of a situation should not hold you back. The second thing that I learned while I was growing up is it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing, you know, to others. Sooner I realized that the only person I wanted to compete with is myself, because when you're competing with others, you kind of impair your own momentum. Now the thing with competing with yourself is, the only purpose is, each day you have to be a better version of yourself than the day gone by. Now both these things require tremendous amount of self-awareness and willpower. Now I for one know that I wasn't born with it, so I've had to kind of develop it over the years. And one thing that's helped me tremendously in this journey is meditation. So I was 16 years old when I was introduced to heartfulness, and you know, let me put it this way, I won't tell you the benefits of meditation, but the one thing that this has transformed me is, just imagine any situation in life which has distressed you or depressed you. When you kind of break it down, you realize it's because you have to take a decision for which you have a plethora of choices. Some of the choices would be from your mental faculty saying, you know, this is what the society expects of you, this is what your experience tells you to do, and then there'll be this feeble voice from the truest part of yourself, from your heart, which is inspiring you to do something completely different. Now, meditating on the heart basically has helped me kind of quieten this dissonance. Every decision that I take intuitively and naturally comes from within. And when you put your heart into anything, everything else follows. Passion, courage. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saxena, for coming up on stage and sharing your personal journey. And like you said, you have to understand yourself first. You have to really get into the core of your own meditative self, and then you can kind of exuberate the energy that you want to. So a big round of applause for you. Next, I would like to invite Captain Shweta Singh to please come up on stage. She is the Director General of Civil Aviation from India. A big round of applause to you, Shweta.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. I'll start with that. And starting off my journey, it's been almost, say, 23 years that I have been in aviation. So I started flying as a student pilot, flying small planes, and then I joined the airline as a junior first officer. Then I graduated myself to be a senior commander. The airline has upgraded me later on to be an instructor and an examiner to check out other pilots. So at present, I'm working as a Deputy Chief Flight Operation Inspector with Director General of Civil Aviation on a deputation from the airline. And I would say I'm the first woman to be in this position. Thanks. So it was never easy because our aviation is a completely male-dominating world. But I'm very grateful to all those people who has always been part of my journey, especially my family, my mother, starting from family to friends, from my, say, boss or instructors in our language, it's instructors and trainers, to all my team members. And I think it is such an immense pleasure to share this moment with all of you here. As I take this award here, it is not only me who's taking this award off the stage there, but there are many people behind me. And by the power of God, they are the one who has encouraged me to put a lot of efforts to reach where I am, making me capable to reach this position to take this award away. I think this award is a true blessing for me in my journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you so much for being with us today. Being in an industry where we don't see leaders like you in the public space, so it's really nice to see because the community is so private. So a big round of applause for you for all your successes, and thank you for being with us. Let's hear it for Captain Shweta Singh. Next, I would like to invite our last speaker of this session, Rajeta Kulkarni. If you can please come up on stage. She is the president of Shri Shri University. A big round of applause for Shweta.
Thank you, and a big hand to you and your colleague who is doing such a great job here, keeping the energy high. And so I want to thank Harbeen actually for inviting me here today. I was supposed to be here a couple of days ago for 2 days, but as usual, life happens, so here I am. And thank you for this recognition. And what's really humbling for me is to see how many young girls are here today doing such amazing things, like this friend of ours from Cameroon, and you know, so many others. Since this morning I've just been here for a few hours, so it's really great, and to listen to your stories was fantastic. So there is a lot to say, but I only want to share one incident of my life which I call really the turning point of my life. Life was great. I was on top of my work. I was a vice president for Citibank for Asia Pacific. I had a big job, a huge responsibility, great life. And in 2008, in a Taj Mahal hotel like this in Bombay, I went to have a meal with my husband and a friend, and some uninvited guests came across the border and attacked us. So I was hostage in the Taj Hotel for about 15 hours. And luckily, unfortunately, not so luckily for others who couldn't come out, but luckily somehow for us, we made out safe, and with a little bit of hurt, I think, physically, little more emotionally, mentally, but came out alive. And that moment let me realize, in fact, I was hiding under a table like this in one of the small rooms, which we found ourselves to hide. And it was 7:30 in the morning, and my BlackBerry went on an alarm because I had a conference call at 7:30. And I realized at that moment what were the balances of life. And in 2010, then I quit my banking career. This happened in 2008, November. As you know, it took me 5-6 months to kind of hand over my banking career to, the next in line. And now I devote my time 100% in an honorary capacity to a number of projects. Yes, I mean, some of us, I think, have the good fortune to do it. So I'm the president of Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji's University. And I use all my time to share with young boys and girls what is the value of life. I think apart from all the name, fame, and everything that you get, just to be alive is good enough, I believe. And I'm also a teacher of meditation. I have been teaching meditation for about 20 years now. I teach all around the world. I have taught people in about 50, 60 countries. And I think that is what is most important. And it's fantastic, all of us coming together like this as a community of women from around the world, just to realize that life is good. In fact, I have a small acronym, if I have another moment to share it, to live life in a grand way. And for me, grand stands G for gratitude, just to be alive. I remember praying that night, that doesn't matter if a leg or hand goes, I want to be alive. So just to be grateful for what you have. R is respect. Many people spoke this, many women spoke this morning. Just respect for yourself and respect for those around. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is on a journey. So respect. Attitude of happiness. I have really learned to be happy with what I have and not look at what I don't have, because that list can be pretty long. But what you have, that list is also quite long. So grand A and N. I think being in the Art of Living Foundation, our DNA is that of seva, service. So whatever is needed, not necessarily to the needy, but whatever is needed, little bit, even giving a smile sometimes is good enough. So how can you look at the needs of others? And then the D, that devotion to life. I never knew before this incident how beautiful life is and how we can embrace it every moment. So that little bit of devotion to our life can create and invoke that divinity within ourselves, I think. So I am trying to live my life in a grand way, and I wish that all of you have a grand life too. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tripti. That was so thank you for giving us a new dictionary to be our grandest selves. That was so beautiful, because I think we were meant to be real, not perfect. I'd like to invite our gorgeous queen, Dr. Harbeen Arora, to kindly present the awards to these accomplished young women of substance. I invite Ranjita Kulkarni to accept this award. I beg your pardon? I invite Ekta Buralik to accept this award as an iconic woman creating a better world for all. Presenting you this award, Ekta, at the Women Economic Forum in New Delhi, 2019. Ranjita Kulkarni, we're honored to present this award to you in recognition of your work as an exceptional woman of excellence. Akshayta Saxena, you are indeed an iconic woman creating a better world for all. Ladies and gentlemen, this would be that moment in the afternoon where we call upon Captain Shweta Singh to accept this award as the Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Ladies, please come together for a group photo. And for the rest of us, if you don't have food on your plates, you know what we need to do? Because I needn't remind you, we're only a few hours away from the